Hello again. We're back, and now it is up to us to play some chess. So, what I'm going to do quickly now, let me just quickly get back to the board. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start a challenge, and let's see. Hopefully, we don't have to wait too long to get an opponent. So, of course, what we do here is we play a 15-minute with 10-second increment game. And I explain my thought process as I play, and afterwards we will do a little bit of analysis as well if there is something interesting we would like to have a look at. Okay, let me just pop onto the Twitch chat as well. Still waiting for a game. It's not always easy to get a 15-minute, 10-second increment game, uh, in certain times of the day. So, but I haven't struggled too badly as of yet. So let's hope I don't have to wait too long. Let's get into the chat here while we wait. Okay, apparently we're still waiting. Looks like this might take a little while. So we managed to get another 50 rating points in the tactics for today. I ended up doing much better in the speed round where I was just focusing on my instincts and just making moves quickly. Then I was doing by actually calculating some of the positions and so on and so forth. We had a couple of long ones, a couple of tricky ones, so on. Okay, maybe let me cancel this one and just restart the search again. Sometimes that helps. Obviously, I don't want to take too long in getting a game, because that'll be kind of useless to the stream, won't it? Oh boy. Previously I haven't struggled this long. Previously I pretty much got game in a couple of seconds. Now I am waiting. Oh, wait, there we go. That's it. Opera Dude. He doesn't know it yet, but he is being streamed. Okay. He is just over 1800. So let's see how it goes. From the States. So d4, d5. Shall I play? Okay, let's play my usual setup. Setup that I saw that Anish Giri plays. I like the positions I get. Okay, now, on the other hand, I want to change it up a little. I am going to go straight for his center now, because this early bishop f5 move leaves a big weakness on b6, just in case you guys are wondering. So we put pressure here and here. This is our goal, is to put pressure on these two squares. So queen b6 next, queen b3 I mean. Okay, so now he's played this move. Okay, let's see. How are we going to handle this? So he naturally wants to play. Okay. Let's see if we can take advantage of this. Is there any way for us to take advantage of this early on in the opening? Let me just quickly do a bit of itchy and scratchy show there. Let me just check something quickly here. Twitch. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. Whatever. Cool. Let's just get back in here. Okay. So I guess if I take, he's going to take with the e pawn. So I'm just not quite sure where I should be going here. Okay, let's play bishop f4. And if he plays bishop d6, we're going to play e3 immediately, giving him the chance to double my pawns. I don't particularly mind it. You find that in general, you get pretty good positions. Let's see what he does now. Now after this, if he plays like knight f6 or something, queen b3 becomes a thing again, because he can't play queen b6 because his bishop is hanging on d6. Just interesting how we kind of sneaked around a little bit on this. Okay. You'll note that I don't mind taking my time because, of course, there are more important things than time. And, of course, we have the 10-second increment. So, if things go horribly bad, I have the previous game, I was surviving on my increment the whole time. Okay, some dude speaking in Russian. That doesn't help. Okay, so queen b3 now is definitely an option. He's going to have to play something like b6 then, which does not look that nice for him, maybe. Can we take advantage of that immediately? So an idea is to play queen b3, and if he plays b6, then what? Okay. Well, again, I do not mind taking time in the opening, okay? It's important for you to not be worried about taking your time in the opening. Now, I'm looking at a variation here. Is it possible for us to play something like queen b3, b6, c5 immediately, putting pressure? Or do we take on d6 first, queen takes, and then play c5? Because he cannot take us. If he takes us, then we play queen b7, which just wins the rook. Now the queen's going to have to move, probably to, like, let's say c7. Now if queen b... okay, to c7, I like where this is going. Maybe we just play rook c1 then? Okay, well, I like queen b3 anyway. It makes complete sense to put the queen on b3. Just to put pressure on the position from him now. His b6 pawn, b7 pawn is very weak. Because of the bishop being out of the file here, out of the pawn formation, sorry. It's out of this pawn formation, this bishop's stuck outside now. So we want to try and do something on the white squares. Now if he plays bishop takes f4 first, could we maybe just play queen takes b7? Is that a possibility for us now? See, we always want to look at intermezzos as well. But he could maybe trap our queen. So queen takes b7, let's say he goes back with bishop d6. Queen takes rook. Queen b6 maybe. So we could get into a bit of trouble there maybe. Don't know if I like that. But queen takes b7, bishop goes to d6. Okay, he has to be careful, of course, of c5. So, okay, maybe even bishop. I don't know. We can always play c5 to kick out there, and then we'll take on a7, which will just win a pawn. So queen takes b7. Maybe he plays rook. Maybe he plays bishop takes e3 or something. We take back. He plays knight bd7. We play queen takes. We play queen takes c6. We're down. No, we're not down anything, are we? Tricky, tricky. Is that good for us, or is this bad for us? His d5 pawn looks a little weak then. Still hasn't castled, so he has to be careful of that. We will have a weakness on e3 then. Of course, we could have just taken the rook as well. So queen takes b7, bishop takes e3, queen takes a8, maybe. Now you can take here, but we take back, and then we do have a rook to the good. Okay, I personally think queen takes b7 should be fine. Maybe just knight b d7 now for him. So again, I don't mind taking time, because if we win the game here, you know, if we like up material here and we can get our queen out or whatever, then we just win the game. Then time is not a factor anymore. So I'm playing purely on the fact that this bishop is out of the white squares on the queen side. This is why bishop f5 lines are tricky. That's why when he played bishop f5 immediately I changed my mind and played c4. I didn't want to play the c4 variation, but with the bishop f5, suddenly I do want to play it because I get pressure on d5, and of course my queen gets to come to b3. I have to be careful of something like queen c7 maybe, and after takes rook, he moves his bishop to, let's say, d6. But then I can just play c5, it seems. Or I can even play pawn takes pawn, whatever takes. Then we even have moves like rook c8, or c1 I mean, with the idea of bishop b5 or even knight b5, etc, etc. We might want to get to castle as quickly as possible as well if we can. But I think personally that we should be able to get our queen out of there. Even if queen c7, queen takes a8, bishop d6, c5, bishop e7, knight e5, then you cannot play knight b d7 anymore. So I personally think we are okay. Should be fine. He castles, maybe we can play b4 and then b5. But we can just develop as well. So now he is finally thinking as well. He has realized that he might have made a mistake now. Now he's going to have to find the best way to play. Yeah, so queen c7 is played. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to risk it all. There's nothing to think about. We have to play this. c5 is a must as well now. Now after knight, okay, we might not be so easy. This might not be as easy as we would have liked. There is a cute idea here with maybe something like bishop a6. Because he cannot take because he's pinned, and then queen b7 after that. But of course our bishop will be trapped, but okay, the knight cannot move on b8 then because the c6 pawn is hanging. So bishop a8, bishop a6 I mean, then what? Can't move his queen because the queen needs to protect the knight. And if he castles, we play queen b7, attacking his queen. And his queen doesn't have that many good squares to go to, so then our queen is free. Maybe he goes, let's say, queen d8. And then we can just move our bishop again, because now we are safe. We are out of here. So bishop goes back to e2, and we are fine. Is there anything he can do after bishop a6? Castling looks like the only real move. So again, we're up material now. So now all we need to do is focus on making sure we don't mess up, because then we're just going to be up material and we should be able to win the game fairly easily because of that. So bishop a6 looks really, really nice. I can't see any great moves for him after that, because he cannot stop me from playing queen b7. Now, if he ends up, taking it and bishop takes, then my bishop looks trapped on b7, but he can never move his knight. So I should be okay. He's gonna have to find a really weird way of defending the pawn on c6, and I should have time for moves like b4, b5 to break out my bishop if need be. Okay, so bishop a6 looks quite nice. I hope I didn't, miss something stupid. But queen, it looks good. We're just going to focus on the white squares. Again, this bishop is outside of the pawn chain, so we're focusing on the white squares here. This is what our focus is. So we're getting so much play because of the weakness of the white squares. So this is a typical thing that happens when you play bishop f5 early. So a little lesson in here. Bishop f5 early creates weaknesses on b7. See what he does. Castles, then queen b7. Well, actually, anything queen b7. Of course, if he moves his queen to like a5 or something like that, then we just take. And the problem is after queen b7 is that the bishop on e7 will be hanging as well. So you've got to be careful of that too. We are one move away from castling, which will give our king safety. And of course, moves like b4, b5 will just crash through on the queen side to open up the position. We also have this knight to e5, nice move. Okay, let's play queen b7 now. I think he'll play queen d8. But after a move like knight e5, he's struggling to defend c6. Okay, so he decides to go this way. So I'm going to take on e7. Should be fine. I can always escape queen d6 and queen g6 or whatever. Queen g3, I mean, sorry. So he can stop us from castling, I guess. Yeah, so queen takes, so he's trying to stop us from castling. Which is maybe not a bad idea. Now, I still like knight e5, because then he cannot play rook e8 either. And then maybe we can play f3 and play king f2. Okay, so we are up quite a bit of material. We do have some problems to solve, so we can't just be, quick again. But a move like knight e5 prevents his knight from developing, prevents his rook from going to e8. And then f3 will follow. Now, is there a way for him to get in here? Queen d3 maybe? No, he can't, because the knight defends that square. So yeah, so knight e5 is a beautiful defensive move, it seems. Knight e5, let's say knight e4. We ignore it, we play f3. He takes our knight, we take the pawn. We take with the pawn, sorry. Just refresh the chat, see if there's anyone here. So knight e5, knight e4, f3, knight takes c3, pawn takes c3, and then maybe something like queen a something. But then we can just castle, I mean... Surely we'll just get active here eventually. So knight e5 looks very logical. There's no way for him to trap our queen. So the idea now is to play f3 and king f2. In which case our king should be perfectly safe. I don't see how our king is not going to be safe out there. I do maybe have another idea as well. If knight e4 f3, knight takes, pawn takes. Let's say he plays something like queen, maybe queen a3 is a good move for him, but let's say he plays queen a5, then maybe rook c1, queen takes a2, and then castle, because then we have the open a file, which is a big difference. Then our rook can go back to a1, we take on a7, we win the game easily. So he should be trying to rather win the c pawn, because then his bishop is still defending this b1 square, which is nice for him. Let's see what he thinks. A move like knight g4 does nothing. So now, obviously, my queen is also just stopping his knight from coming out. His own queen blocks a6. His knight can't go here because of mine. Obviously, his own pawn blocks his knight. So this piece is not part of the game, and neither is this one now as well. Because of knight e5, we have this double threat here. So he cannot just move his rook. Maybe he can play bishop g6. But again, I mean, after something like just queen c7 or queen d6, where is he going? Where's the threats? I find it hard to see that he has anything concrete. Yeah, so bishop g6 is played. f3 still looks logical. Then he can play rook e8. Then maybe we just play queen c7. Now, of course, I'm never going to take the bishop unless I can castle. Then I will take the bishop. Now, we do have moves like knight e2 as well, but then I still can't castle. So f3 looks like the logical option here. This knight covers these squares, which is really nice, so his queen can't come in here. His queen has no squares on the b file, so none of these squares are available for the queen either. So f3 looks like the move. With king f2 to follow, and we can always go a king king g3 if we have to. But the rook's just going to come out, and then we are going to put our king on g1. So f3 looks fairly simple. And like I say, if he goes rook e8, we just play queen c7, keeping control. Then he still can't move this knight out. He can't play any attacking moves. His queen still is not coming in here at any given point soon. So we have complete control over the board right now because his pieces has no entry. His pieces has no freeing moves, and his queen cannot come into my position. He might want to try and play something like his knight away, I'm not sure where, with the idea of f6. But if he does so, I just take on g6. So I do not see that helping him at all. Okay, so he plays rook here, queen goes here, I think. I guess if I do put it there, then okay, let's just put our queen back. Queen is on e7. Queen here, then maybe he gets to play rook e8. So queen d6. Does he have any threats? We're still threatening this knight, so at least, and we are then threatening obviously this as well. So maybe queen d6 is perfectly acceptable. He can't play rook d8. And he cannot play queen a5 because of knight takes c6. So queen d6 is fine because now he also cannot play knight e4. So queen d6. So we change our mind because otherwise if you go to c7, then he can play rook c8 maybe. Then we have to go to d6 anyway, and then he can maybe play knight there, and I don't like that variation at all. Of course, now, if he doesn't move anything fancy, then we do have knight takes g6. And then the queen is free to roam back to f4 or g3, and then king f2, and then of course we continue. We should be fine. I don't see any. Again, this is all about just, cramping down your opponent's counterplay, which he seems to struggle with right now. A move like rook c8 does look plausible. But like I said, after knight takes g6, pawn h takes g6, king f2, he has nothing anymore. He can get his queen in though. But after, let's say he goes queen d3 after that, then after rook e1, rook h to e1, even if he checks, we go rook e2, and of course, well, then the queen is trapped, which is really funny. So that does not help him at all. So there's no fear here anymore. We're just using the dark squares to defend our king here. And of course, his knight is struggling to get part of the game here. I mean, rook c6 looks like the only real move with the attempt of playing knight e8. I could maybe just ignore it anyway as well, because if he does go knight e8, I can just play queen e7 again. And we just keep control. Because he has to lose a tempo every time that he tries to attack my queen. Unfortunately for him, this does not look great. Yes, I can maybe leave my queen there. My queen is happy there. Okay, so he's going to sacrifice a piece here. Does this really do anything for him? I take. Okay, you may be pinned, but then I check. So I take. He plays queen d3. I guess that's the idea. Then maybe even knight takes f6 check. Pawn takes. King f2. Then what? Queen check, then knight e2. If bishop here, I just defend with a rook. He's got no more pieces. He ran out of pieces. So he doesn't have a pin. If he takes back first, queen takes, then his rook's hanging. That doesn't look very pleasant either. So what if we just take the piece? It looks like a free piece to me. Is there anything crazy? I don't think so. Let's take it. Free piece. Let's take it. Nothing to think about there. Okay, he's going to go for rook b8. I still think I can just go king g3, or king f2, queen takes, and then king g3. Then I got threats on his king as well. Gonna have to play h something. And my king is happy out there. How funny is that? I maybe plays h6, then I play h4 or something maybe. I can play b3, of course. I really can. So maybe I should. Maybe just b3. No, but then queen. Then he gets queen d3. So let's just take a little bit of time. Once again, there's no need to rush here. We have a move like knight d1 is also possible. Because knight d1 would protect the pawn and the pawn on e3 as well. Now the only thing I don't like about this move is that my queen... Maybe I do like this move. Because I can come back. So let's say something like knight d1, queen d3, then queen takes a7. Now his rook can't go somewhere funny because otherwise we take. And if he moves his rook out of the b file, we go queen a3. And then we're fine. Yes, I know we have a bit of time, but a little bit of time issue, but it's not the end of the world. Because we have made threats, think we should be fine here. So let's say knight d1 and he moves h6. We go king f2. He goes maybe queen d3. We go rook e1. And everything is defended. I like it. Knight d1 might be a nice little move. If he goes queen check on a5, then just king g2, king f2 I mean, then queen d2 check, then king g3. He has no attack, but maybe that is a problem. Maybe we don't want that to happen. If knight d1, queen a1 check. Okay, knight d1 looks strong, so I'm going to move it now. If queen check, I think maybe king e2. He still has back rank problems, so he can't just, go nuts. So of course the final defense is rook here, a king here, rook here, and rook up. That is the final defense. Once we have that set up, I do not see how he's going to get anywhere. Okay, so he plays h6. I think king f2, queen there, and rook e1. King f2. I'm sure this works fine. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, we can't play b3. Okay, I see. So we might have some small problems to deal with. But I doubt it. Rook e1, bishop takes, rook takes b2, king g3. And then what? How is he ever coming in here? I don't think we have to stress too much about this attack. He just doesn't have enough pieces. We're going to be up a whole rook. Surely that should be enough. Because queen d3 even is not a threat. It's not threatening anything. Because if he goes check, we just play rook e2. So if queen d3, queen takes a7, looks plausible. Yeah, queen takes a7. Because it's still not threatening anything. Queen takes a7. I'm sure that is fine. Doesn't have any threats. Yeah, queen takes a7. If he plays bishop takes now, then I just take his rook, check. If he goes queen d2, I play rook e2. If he plays his rook somewhere, like let's say b4, then queen a3 seems perfectly acceptable as well, in which case we will just trade off pieces. Queen to a3 looks strong. I don't see, because now I cover b2 as well with this move. So queen a2, a3. That was our defensive idea earlier. If he ever gave us the chance to play queen takes a7, which he did. Now, of course, he can't take the knight anymore because queen takes d3 is a problem for him. He plays queen d2, then rook e2, and he's going to have to trade off his queen. So he is done now. Probably resign. Don't know if he's going to try and play for time. But as soon as we were able to get our king to f2 and our rook to e1, we should be fine. Because he always had to worry about his own back rank, and he just doesn't have enough pieces. Just does not have enough pieces here. Yeah, and he resigns. Okay, that's great. Let's see. That was a decent amount of rating. Why did we get so much rating for that? Cool. Not that I'm complaining about it. Okay, let's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this real quick, and I am going to open up an examination board. Let me just refresh. Apparently, I got this. Every time you play a game like this, then afterwards you can't type. You cannot type. You have to refresh the page. Just really annoying, but okay. Anyway, cool. So we refreshed. Let's just type that again. Examine. There we go. So we have a board open that should be sized in fine with same it was before. So let's look at the game quickly. So we played d4, he played d5, we played knight f3, he played bishop f5. Okay, now as soon as you see this kind of setup in the d4 games, then you want to target this pawn and this pawn with this setup for your queen. So c4, it makes complete sense now. We played c6, we played knight c3, he played e6. I think knight f6 is probably a better move. Knight f6 makes a bit more sense because then he gets a little bit more development quicker as well. Okay, anyway, he played e6. Then we played bishop f4. Now he played bishop d6, and I played e3, offering them chance of taking on f4. Now what he does not realize here is that now queen b3 is a threat because it, he can't protect with his queen. And if he has to play b6, it doesn't look so happy chappy either. So he played knight f6 and I played queen b3. So okay, he's not castled yet. I don't have to worry about being castled because all the problems are not gone. So now you'll see that he's got this pawn formation here, but the bishop is on the outside. So suddenly you'll see that these white squares become really, really weak. And that is what we end up taking apart. So now he played bishop takes f4, and we can play queen takes b7. So now suddenly he has to give up the rook for the piece that he just took. So he played queen c7, thinking that he could trap the queen. But after here, bishop here, d6 is important to force the bishop to e7, because now when we get our queen to b7, which you'll see just now, then we can take the bishop on e7. So this was a critical point where we played bishop a6. So of course the knight can't take because it's pinned. Okay, and now there's no way of stopping us from playing queen b7. So we will free our queen finally, and we will be fine. So he castled, we played queen b7, and he decided to play queen b5, which is queen a5, because it's interesting because he's trying to stop us from castling, which is the best he can do. So after queen takes, now he stops us from castling. The problem is that he doesn't have enough pieces to attack with. So knight e5 is a pretty move to play because it protects those two squares, so his queen can't get into the game. And of course it also prolongs or stops rook e8 from being played, because then we will attack f7. So that moves, so knight e5 makes complete sense. There's a second reason why we want to play knight e5 is because we want to play f3 and king f2. Once we get our king to f2, the rook comes to e1, and our king is now finally safe. So he played bishop g6 to get rook e in. I played f3. Now, of course, his pieces can't get in here either, which is great. So that knight can't go anywhere. He plays rook e8. I play queen d6, because now, again, there's no square for him to attack my queen. And I keep an eye on the d7 square so that his knight cannot come out. So now he decided that he is going to sacrifice the knight as well, because he thought that he was going to be able to get counterplay with maybe something like this. This is what he thought he could win with, or at least get a sufficient counterplay with. So I took, he took, I took, and he played rook b8. Now I played knight d1. I took quite a bit of time to defend with this knight d1 move, but it seems like the knight defends quite well. He played queen. No, he played bishop. No, what did he play? He played h6 first, yeah. Now, see, the problem is he has to defend because he cannot allow me to obviously checkmate him. Now, I thought he might play queen a7, a5 check, but then I would have played king e2. Little sneaky move, because now if he goes, let's say, queen check here, I go king f2, and now his queen can't get to d2, which is what would have happened if I played king f2 immediately here. Then he would have played queen d2 check. Not that I think it's such a big problem, but, you know, why allow it if I don't have to allow it? So, but then he played h6. And now my defense seems quite easy. So I play king f2, he plays bishop c2 attacking the knight, but I don't care. I played rook e1. And now, of course, if he takes, which he probably should have done, he should probably take here. Rook takes there, and do I go king here or g? I'm not sure. King here maybe, should be fine. And of course, he's just the whole rook down. I mean, he can win a pawn. Oh no, maybe I can't play there. Sorry, because then he does get some counterplay with queen takes here. So that's why I thought maybe this would be a better variation for him. So king g3, queen takes, and I'm gonna have to play rook g1. It's not my happiest moment on the planet ever, but I am threatening to go check here and start winning pawns as well. If this one falls, they all fall. Okay? And my rooks are strong on the back rank here. They're just holding everything together. So I should be fine. I don't see how I will have any trouble here. I just don't see it. We should be fine. He has no attack here. But at least he does have a little bit of a bind here. So this is what I thought would happen, but that's okay. We should be fine there. So instead, he played bishop t2, I played rook e2, he played queen d3. And what we realized earlier is that if he does ever play his queen to the square, we can play queen takes a7 with a threat on the rook. So now he has no moves here because otherwise we just take the rook first. And if he goes queen check, we play rook e2. Then his rook and queen is under attack. So he played rook here and I played queen a3. And this was enough for him to throw in the towel. So we had this idea of queen there and queen a3, which is a nice little defense. It just, you know, obviously helps defend b2. It kicks the queen from d3, and that just means he's done because he's down a whole rook and 2 pawns at this point. So that was it. That was a pretty cool game. I don't mind. It's a nice little illustration of what happens if the bishop comes out to f5 quickly. If you're going to play this stuff for black with the bishop coming out to f5, then you have to be extremely careful with your move order. So, you know, you play in the opening, you just go, I just move the normal pieces. I go bishop f5, I play e6, I play c6, I don't even think about it, you know. Nothing to think about. Careful, careful. There was a lot to think about. That's why I took my time, and my opponent thought, well, there's no weaknesses here, and he ended up losing the game because of it. So move order is very important, and taking your time, even in the opening, even if you think you've seen it all, you've done it all in that specific opening, be careful, because a thinking player is going to find a way to put pressure on you. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so yet, please come and follow me on Twitch. You know, click follow on the follow button on Twitch. And yeah, you know, if you like the stuff that we do in the end, then, you know, give us a donation. That'll be highly appreciated. Thank you, folks, and I will see you guys